Thank you very much, Milosh. Yes, a big game to end things out, Demo. Hopefully one not too full of too much hijinks. Something a bit more focused and to the point, given, as you say, such a storied game between these two. That stat when you rolled it out earlier, I was just like, wow, the 44th meeting. Some orgs in Tier 1 have not even met each other once. It's crazy to think about. It's been 44 times. Yeah,
it's a lot. And yeah, just the one draw as well, which I don't know why. It always annoys me that we've got like the one draw in there. But that was back whenever we actually used to have draws in professional play. Both teams would have walked away with just like a point because of it. So darker times, Des. Dark times back then with draws.
Yes. Thank God there was only the one between them is the key thing to look at there, I think it's fair to say. Yep. All right, talk about these bans for a second as well. We've had double electrification bans come out. We had this on the same map earlier as well today, so similar conversation. But a key change we're looking at here is the Monty and the Thermite ban. We had the Maverick, I believe it was, and the Ace ban earlier, but this time round, Thermite.
Yeah. Again, we mentioned before about labs. We're dealing with a map where the external walls are a necessity. And of course, Thermite is just great at doing that because you make these big opening holes. You said before, Des, yes, you can rely on hard breach gadgets, but then it makes it kind of a little bit iffy if you really want to go through the breach, because then you have to vault and then you kind of get locked into that animation, whereas Thermite, it just gives you that freedom. So yeah, again, hard breach ban, it makes a lot of sense. One thing which, straight away, I'm happy to see, and this is where I mean, I personally feel as though that W7M should be learning from their experience, and so should ENX. Look at that. They don't need to bring a Maverick because Cade and Bandit are banned. They don't need it.
Before to swerve
bring
it
a
away.
hard breacher. Yeah, it's simple.
Simple. An interesting one for me, of course, is going to be Ask here jumping across on towards the fuse. Now, we always have this high fantasy. There's a few operators in the game that have like high fantasy. Like you think about their ideal use case and it's like, wow. Think about like Oryx pulling off a flank after hopping up a hatch, for example, or a fuse here, killing 3 people inside a site. It's more of the space gain that you get as a result of using the fuse here. And I think if nothing else for this site upstairs, maybe not quite the ideal place to use it. You'd look at it maybe for a first floor site or a downstairs site when you want to clear out a bunch of utility. Where are you seeing potential use cases for fuse on this site in particular? Just for the shields? They have got 3 shields, to be fair.
It could be because of the shield. Honestly, it could be. It is certainly a viable strategy, and just based on the way he's playing it, I think we've answered that question. Yes, it's because of the shield, definitely.
And the shields have been clapped out. 1 down here as well, 2 left standing, but they're very quickly falling by the wayside as well, as have the rest of the team.
What's happened?
Liquid have tried to go very quick is what's tried to happen, Demo, but they've been stalled out by the smoke, as you can see here at the top. And Ask is not looking too healthy right now. Cyber really has done a good job of keeping him at bay. Goes for the toe shot as well, narrowly misses him out. But I think this round is pretty cooked unless Diaz can work some real magic elsewhere on that Blackbeard.
Yeah, the issue is if you're a shield player and you're going up against the shotguns, is that you're just always going to get shield broke. So you can never actually sprint down a smoke or sprint down a mute. He's always going to be able to put enough damage into you where you cannot sprint. Like, just simple as this. Just keeps him at bay, just keeps going back and forth. However, was not expecting the Blackbeard to come around the corner with a clothesline.
Neither did I, to be honest with you. I said he had to do something because they couldn't rely on Ask to get something done here on 5 HP against a smoke shotgun. So what does he do? Doubles up, and now they've got an angle coming together. The downside is FaZe know these 2 shields are now together, so they need to split up, really. Looks to be that's what Ask is going for if they want to be able to put pressure on from another angle, because if you're coming from just the one, you're going to get bullied here by the remaining defenders.
Yep. Still going to be tough for them, though. You've got not a lot of HP on either player, and there goes the Blackbeard, as I mentioned that, and Ask, yeah. Ain't no way he's winning this with 5 HP on a fuse shield. There's many things a man can do, but this is not one of them, and yeah, easy work for FaZe. Triple shields, trying to be abused, and the smoke at the right place over towards Fish has just worked a charm for them. Completely stalled it out. You can see the power of that operator up against the shields, can shield break them, can stall them out with the smokes. Yeah, pretty easy stuff.
Yeah, I think the big one for me was the fact that they've tried to rush in first round. They won't try it again in the second round because that's not making any like bones about it. That wasn't like a triple shield, slow, calculated round. You could see even later on how Ask was running inside top Aqua and was still hitting off against those Fenrir mines. They hadn't cleared any utility. It was a rush attempt. And now that that's failed, we'll go back to trying something more standard. Now, I expect the comp in this round will be a lot more, dare I say, sensible, but more focused on the objective. So, FaZe, good start. Good first round for them.
don't forget, things will also get, I think, more difficult for Liquid whenever we hit that next set of bans, because more than likely, Des, another shield's going to be off the table. And if Liquid are going in with the idea of we're going to abuse shields against FaZe, and another one goes, you start limiting your options. Again, Blackbeard is there. I think that's probably the operator that FaZe will ban whenever we get around to it, will be the Blackbeard. We mentioned before, Des, we don't have to go into any further detail. People can just rewind the stream and hear our, you know, I want to say our natural wildlife documentation on what we've, you know, kind of recovered in Blackbeard tonight, because we went into them in pretty good depth.
We had like Blitz as well, of course, always an option, but the most part, it feels like Blackbeard has been the go-to. Let's check the stats afterwards, to be fair, and see which shield operator has been the most popular, but I'll put pretty good money on it being Blackbeard that has been the go-to dominant one, because he's very, very lethal, because he's still, of course, providing the coverage that a shield gives to you, and as you remarked, the nades also being in back pocket, giving some really good utility.
I mean, he just has a gun. The other shields don't have a gun, they have a pistol, you know? I think that's also another thing you have to keep in consideration, is just the scar, and it hits pretty darn hard. It will. Pretty good time to kill. You know, you land a couple of shots into the chest, that guy's dead. So one thing about Liquid is it seems to be a pretty traditional take of an attack here, where they're looking to, first of all, clear away the roamers, using the Blackbeard, getting him in well. They've also brought in some soft destruction in the form of the ram, which is obviously going to open up a lot of the vertical angles over towards the bomb site. Both bomb sites will be affected by that operator. And then they also do have 2 sets of hard breaches for opening up those external breaches. So basically they have everything they need, Des. There's nothing, I think, in the lineup of Liquid that makes you think, could be asking for trouble without this, you know, operator. But no, I think they've got every ground covered.
I like how FaZe was still paying respects to Liquid as well, and dropping out that Goyo cannon as they led down towards Exo stairs. Like, cool, pop that, get out of danger, just in case it's a shield about to come charging off the back of that ram. We don't want to find ourselves getting caught out by a blitz to the face, or a Blackbeard in this case hunting us down at the same time. I think it was just good discipline from FaZe here and showing good respect to Liquid that they could try and play quite fast again. Probably now realise it is a much more slower and composed round from, well, you probably call that rivals, I think, at this point, it's fair to say. Potentially a freebie here. Cyber, that pointy stick on the side of FaZe starts off with one, and Handy into another already. It's all coming up FaZe.
So, just blatant misrounds coming in from Liquid. You know, not knowing that there's a guy just stood on the garage stairs at the garage door. Could have easily killed. It did not work for them. They are now attempting to try and flood in towards the bomb site, but look at FaZe, Des. Just falling back. You know, they know there's no pressure on them at all, and ADS just taking the mick. Diaz gone, resets, shows himself now is actually going to get shot from his own holes that he made with his boogie drone, and yeah, that's very weird round to see the defenders using the ram holes against the ram.
It's a wild one where really they've all taken that first floor away from you. You're on site, like, this is a great place to be, but not when you're alone 1 versus 5. Very dominant so far from FaZe. They've dealt with the rush. They've played out a slower round to perfection as well and given Liquid absolutely nothing. This reminds me a lot of what we saw from Furia on day 1 yesterday. Just give it almost nothing over to their opponents.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
So, good from FaZe. Again, nothing has really worried them at all. Everything seems to be pretty run-of-the-mill for FaZe. Liquid, on the other hand, missing some key components. Droning seems to be a big thing. It's weird that you're bringing in the Blackbeard and you're clearing that side of the map, but then you just completely ignore the garage side, which I find quite strange. It looked as though they were almost trying to do a minimalistic take, Des, where they took in towards kitchen, and then they just tried to walk down in towards exo stairs, which...
10 seconds remaining.
How can you do that whenever there's roamers above? Ow.
They were so focused on it, because when you saw they've immediately got that wall opened up inside a freezer, 2 drones fly through ahead of the Blackbeard, and they are checking out that side of the map, but as you say, they then lose a player for free inside a garage, and it's a little bit like one-track minds in a way. They've got one thing they're focused on as a team here, rather than trying to solve multiple problems at the same time. I'd say what we haven't clocked this round, Demo, and I feel like we have to talk about it because it's on your screen. It's Cyber running around on the Caveira. Now, if anyone's going to run it, it's going to be him, of course. As I mentioned earlier on, he's the, like, pointy stick of this FaZe side. They're always regarded as quite a slow, composed team. It's always been their playstyle, and clearly it's successful and has been for them for many years. But Cyber feels like that X-Factor, the kind of player that will go a bit bananas, that, dare I say, will play a Caveira. And I think having someone that has that capability so you can still introduce something else into the mix here is really important.
Now, I don't know if you would know this or anyone else. Am I right in saying that the only esports skin for Cav is FaZe?
It would not shock me in the slightest.
Because I own it. It was from the 2018 set. One of the first ones. They got Cav. I can't think. Is there anyone else who has received Caviera?
We have a look.
I honestly don't know, but the only one I can think of is the FaZe skin, because that's the one I actually use.
FaZe 2019,
So, yeah.
Yep. I can't see any other ones.
There you go. So that operator is linked to him, and speaking of the Cav... Oh, of course. Of course.
As we were saying, if anyone's going to play it and make something happen, it's going to be Cyber.
This team's just silly, isn't it? I was watching them yesterday as well, Des, and I thought this FaZe team just taking the mick, aren't they, this league? They really are. They just... It's their playground.
They're making Liquid look silly across these first 2 or 3 rounds here, and it's not looking like it's going to get much better unless they can really turn it around. Handy at least falls. Still a man disadvantage for Liquid to work their way through, mind you, and Vidiking is posted close with a shotgun, daring him to step across. Ah! Timing!
Oh. Unlucky. However, I've still on the flank though, Dads. Maybe look for a second one.
I was going to say, they might even know that he came from a shot in his back there. It was quite clever because he's putting up a few shots behind him. That's when Maya was stepping forward. Resets, though, he's going absolutely nuclear. Will not stand still. Has got 3 kills for himself. DS into another. KDS is all that's left, and just when it looked like FaZe were basically guaranteed to win this round, it's all falling apart. How can you get an interrogation and still lose the round?
I think maybe players from FaZe are just getting a little bit carried away, Des. We could already be heading into that underestimating your opponent territory. But Resets has said, hang on a minute, we can still play Siege, and he's appeared with a great triple kill to keep his team in the game at the moment. However, unchecked is where KDS is, and look at the HP though from Maya. Could easily die to a goo mine. Almost does, Des. Had to stop immediately to take that goo mine out of his leg. But look at the time, 5 seconds ago. Do they have information on where the diffuser is? He's going to wrap all the way around toward Garage. He finds one and he should be able to clean up, and he does! KDS with a triple kill! Just to ruin the hearts of Liquid. They thought, you know what, guys, we can get in here, get into this round, but no! No, 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 says FaZe. They will find a way, Des.
KDS, man. Oh, we said no silliness in this game. We said, let's see a good, top-level, quality, competitive game.
What a
and
rotate.
that round there, we're already into silly season. Beautifully played by KDS as well. I think identifying the smoke coming off, knew what the next play was going to be, and did expect to get challenged. I thought for a second Liquid were going to kind of bait him out and push through the smoke and try and plant inside of that room in storage, but no. They hold firm, and KDS plays it to perfection. That's probably a little warning to FaZe, though. Look, come on now. Let's not start throwing away rounds in silly situations here. Let's keep it together.
Oh, KDS. Deary me. And the Liquid timeout. Not surprising at all that we see this come in. Yeah, Liquid. That's going to be a kicker, isn't it? Losing that round. Because you just shouldn't lose at that stage. You know, a 3v1. All they had to do was just take a little bit of time and just figure out where the guy was.
Yeah. It's a case of, again, of lack of droning, like you were saying in the previous round, because I forget who the first player was that came into storage and died in the doorway without knowing where KDS was.
Resets.
The
man who did so much work.
He was really feeling himself, right? He walked to 3K already and thought he could go on and find more, but again, it's kind of cost your team there. You can be back on the drones at that point. You've got a bit of time to play with, but they've just got a little bit desperate, I think, a little bit undisciplined, and it has cost them a round. We're now going to probably play back through those same 3 sites again. So Liquid with attack timeout here. You've played out that first quarter. You've seen what you're against on each site. It's a good time to have attack timeout. I do like a post-round 3 or a post-round 9 attack timeout here. Let's hope they can get something in the second quarter.
Oh, boy. Well, FaZe. Just gliding right now. 3-0 up. Liquid. That is going to be a gut puncher losing that round. And now they need to do the cycle all over again. Site's going to be unlocked now, Des. We go back to the top floor, and this one was just a lockout, really, from the first minute. We've seen a triple shield being ran from Liquid. It did not work to its effect. They've since then changed their ideas. They've changed their lineup. Oh. Looks as though, Des, that we're going to have a bit of time to talk.
Oh, yeah. It's a rehost time, baby. Wouldn't be last game of the day without it. The The good news is all the players are still connected, as you can see, so it's fine. I think they're in a team house, I want to say.
Yeah.
So in that case, it should be fine.
I would say it is, unless the coach can, warp from one house to another, because I can see him in 2 different screens, look. And again, same for Liquid. Look at the facility they have.
Cozy.
Looks like a proper facility, doesn't it? Really looks like it.
Yeah, it's like Neska's been
kind of
boxed
window
into
behind
the
them.
corner.
He's got the whiteboard.
Yes.
What's on the whiteboard? What's on that?
That's a good question, actually. What is on the whiteboard? I don't read Portuguese, so we're kind of screwed regardless, I think. Integridad, which I assume can only mean integrity. Maybe it's got like all their values written on there, the things about they agree to being in a team.
Maybe.
A loose guess, and nice artwork is in the background of FaZe. They don't got a whiteboard.
I was going to say. They've got, what is that? Are those trophies? Are those the trophies they're going to win? Glimpse of the future? Who knows?
They don't look like trophies to me.
Well, what are they then? I don't know. Looks like trophies.
So what you do, you take a screenshot, you open it up in Paint, because I still use Paint, and you zoom in. They look like vases. One doesn't really look like a vase, admittedly. It looks a bit dodgy. Most of them do look like vases, granted. It's your catchphrase of the night, that is, mate.
I like to agree. I remember whenever I cast it with Parker, I think maybe 2 stages ago, I remember last stage, whatever it was, and he said the same thing.
What, do you say a lot?
Yeah.
It's true. You go, and then say nothing, and I'm just like, continue. Surely there's a follow-up to
I'm just agreeing with you. If I don't say anything, then I don't agree. That's probably the best way to do it.
Ah, right, okay. So if you ignore me, then I know that I'm in trouble with you.
Then, exactly, I'm just sitting and thinking, what's this guy saying?
Yeah, I see. Damn, I was watching the replay of that last round over on the other screen as well, just the madness unfolding. Again, it was such a smart play by KDS to know when to make the rotation, to not stick in spot. But it's, again, a bit of a slip on the Liquid Intel net side as well. No one to watch him coming off on that flank there. I say that, to be fair. Maya did get a shot back at him. He knew that he was coming. Just couldn't quite land the shots that he needed to. It's unfortunate. It could have very easily been a win out by Liquid. We would have been saying, okay, you've let this get a little bit too close now regardless. But that's how Siege goes sometimes. A single shot can make the difference between a championship or not.
Yep, I agree. I think for Liquid, at the moment, it's finding who they are again. That's what it feels like. Because I just think this team has struggled with chopping and changing so many players over the number of years. One of the main constants, of course, was Nesk and Paulo being there, pretty thick and thin. It was always those two. One of them's now moved on, and you've only got Nesk remaining as the guy on this team since the beginning of this side, whenever this organization came into the mix of Siege. So it's stranger tides for Liquid, it really is. But it's going to be difficult. Replacing Paulo, how do you find another one of them? They don't grow on trees, Des. We've tried.
That's it, right? I don't know. You can't easily replace him, but clearly they felt that was the move to make. And the thing is, I don't blame them because they've tried with that formula for, over half a decade now. They've really given it a good go. Paulo and Ness being at the center, there are players rotating around them, and they haven't quite found what needs to work. And I guess after so many times of trying team changes, you say, yeah, these guys are great players, but something just doesn't work here. We're going to have to change the core out. And clearly they chose to stick with Nesk in the end. Does that pay off for them? Time will tell. We're having this constant conversation about has the game passed him by? Admittedly, for a few years now, that has been the question, and it may well turn out to be a yes. But of course, we'll see how Liquid play out so far in this year. I do like that. They've got some very promising players. I've waxed lyrical about Maya a lot. I do think there's real potential on the team, but it's going to take time to find that form, I think. And is it ever going to be enough to be able to unsettle the giants of the region, the FaZes, the Furious, the W7Ms? It's a big ask.
The guys in the desk, they said it very well about FaZe. It's the consistency. It's crazy consistency from FaZe. Since the organization came in, don't think they've ever missed an event. Always doing well in their own region, usually winning their own region, always placing well at events that they make it as well. Anyone who really beats some events actually goes on to be the best team at that tournament also, which is quite an unlucky thing about FaZe. So just overall, I don't think there's a better regional team in history of Siege than FaZe. I think they are, and that's going for every region. You know, America, you don't just see one team dominating it all the time. EU, I suppose you can make the argument about, you know, the BDS syndrome, but then again, we've seen Wolves, for example, do back-to-back stages in there. We've seen VP as well, I believe. Whereas FaZe, it's always FaZe. It just is. It's always their side, and they've been doing it since 2018. I think that's the main thing, Des. They've been doing it since they came in. They've been dominating their league.
And I think they've missed one event in that time as well. Bearing in mind, of course, they had like the Copper Elite 6 to qualify for events here too. Not just in the leagues, but all the way through that sort of thing due to qualify. And as we said several times now, only get knocked out by eventual grand finalists tells you a lot. I think Resets knows that he's been sniffed out here as well. That default cam behind him was still on. Saw the barrel of a player not far away from him at the same time, so knows he's in a bit of a precarious situation. Sure enough, he's getting swung on, but he wins the fight. KDS after such a good round last round. Not quite getting away with the same joy this one.
Resets is just trying to carry his team through the mud, isn't he? He's really the player stepping up to the mark. Other players from Liquid need to try and follow his lead and get stuck into the action. But immediately, really good early map control coming in from Resets. Being able to establish that control over towards Connector almost. And also whenever you combo that with someone outside of Electrical, you've got that, you know, control. Nobody's going to be able to flank you now. You've got Electrical window unlock. And this is where the walls start to close in whenever people can start pushing in from different angles. However, what a shot coming in from Souls, using the Kiba now to reinforce himself in. He's aware that players inside a catwalk, and he was switched on for it. Really good positioning, aware of his surroundings. So all credit to him. I think that's a very important kill, because if that kill happens, Des, we're in FaZe B.
That would be the problem in it, but they've really largely planted their feet here. FaZe and just farmed kills for fun. A good one from DS onto Cyber, but there's 3 more to get through. And that ain't going to be so easy because Bitter King is there with the shotgun. One thing I do want to touch on there is I appreciate Myers on the Flores. Once you've used the drones, you're basically a free gun. You can do as you please. The problem is, he goes in for that swing and dies. If he collects that kill, they've got control of IT, they've got control of left side, everything looks fine for them. But he dies, and then 3 seconds later, there is a Blackbeard right behind him. Why are we running in blind here when you've got a shield that can spearhead this attack for you? It's specifically why you bring these operators along. And I'm just a little bit concerned that I get seeing a gap in the defense and believing there's an opportunity, but think about the resources you've got available to you there. It's just a bit too much too quickly, and they're paying the price by losing players because, as I said, FaZe largely planted their feet in that round and picked up kills as Liquid walked into them.
FaZe just trucking away, aren't they? Seems to be pretty routine from FaZe. I think it's just that confidence that they have. Obviously, like I said, they you kind of big up the old Classico, don't you? With both teams, you think, you know, historic. This is the rivalry, the amount of times they've played each other. Nobody comes close in any other really derby that we have in Siege.
5 seconds
But
left.
you really can see times have changed, can't you?
Oh, 100%.
You really can. If you actually look at the head-to-head, yes, the last time they played each other was at Reload, and Liquid were able to win 8-7. However, if you look down the list, that was the first win that Liquid had against FaZe in 6 games. You know, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? It was the first time that they beat them since Copenhagen. So you basically, they didn't beat them at all during 2024. The whole year did not beat them.
Yeah. And look back to the higher days of Liquid, you know, 2021, for example, when things were looking good for them. Being
Really
close
good,
to one of the COVID SIs to win the whole thing. Obviously, NIP came out on top back then as well. Those are the glory days, and it feels like we're quite far away from that, whereas FaZe have just kept on sailing ever higher. So, although, as you say, the record looks very balanced between the two, recency could not be more different for the pair of them.
It is, and at the end of the day, trophies do the talking, and one thing that FaZe have that Liquid don't is a hammer. Ooh,
okay, Resets is still doing Resets things.
Another opening pick.
Onto Souls, who's normally a backline player for this team as well. Like, very, very safe, a high survival rate when you look at his numbers. But here, they've had the backbone completely snapped in half by Resets. A second kill for himself, and I love that pairing, right? I speak about it so often. Dokkaebi and Deimos, it is so effective.
Yeah, there's a lot of operators that just make the roaming a living nightmare. Jackal not so much because he's actually been nerfed. Des, I don't know if you're aware of that. The ping, it just gives the 1 ping now, and it's not the greatest compared to what he was. So running the Jackal really is not worth it. So certainly your Deimos and your Dokkaebi, maybe throw a Blitz into the mix as well, is a dangerous combination. But FaZe obviously went for that blitz ban anyway,
Surely
but
not.
look, the damage had been done. Yeah, it's not going to happen. He's top for goodness sake, Des. What's he going to do? They're in sight. Resets, you have to mention him. He's trying his best. He is constantly getting that opening pick. Constantly. He needs help. They need to help him. They need to get around him. They need to follow his lead.
I think that puts him up to like 8 kills. The rest of his team have got 6. It's been all resets so far.
Not good.
100%.
Not good.
I mean, really, the first 4 rounds were not good at all, as we've remarked several times now. They were a real struggle, but at least they're on the board, Demo. That's the important part. It's a bit of a confidence builder. I said this when we were back on Chalet. For teams to have that 1 round coming out of the half gives you at least a little bit of a lifeline, a chance where the other side won't do something too crazy just to get that single round when they need with 6 bites to the cherry to try and make it happen. So at least be happy with that. They do, I think it's fair to say, very sorely need this next round, though. It'll feel like a smash and grab given how the first 4 went, but Liquid really need a bit of breathing room, and I think a bit of confidence coming out of another round win will be exactly what leads them there.
However, if you then start staring down the barrel of a 5-1, Des, you really got to dig deep, and you have to play almost perfect Siege to try and just get a regular win. Don't forget, you know, overtime, you're still going to be dropping a point no matter what. So every team is obviously going to try and play for all 3 points if they can. And don't forget as well, for Liquid, you know, they lost their opening game. Can they afford to already, after the first week, be sitting at 0 points? They're going to be associated with the likes of Loss and ENX, and we've seen how those 2 teams played today. Are we really going to start grouping Liquid in with the likes of them? Really?
No. There's probably like 3 tiers of teams, I think it's pretty fair to say, in this region, and I'll put ENX in tier 3 at the moment. I'd put Liquid probably in tier 2.
Even that, why are we saying Liquid's a T2 team? Why, like, even that sounds weird. It's Team Liquid. Again, we talked about organizations. It's Team Liquid's one of the biggest in the world.
Yeah. But FaZe, Fury exists, W7M exists, and you wouldn't put Liquid on the same level as those guys.
Again, the players that they have, they should be able to.
I agree. They should be able to. It just never quite seems to click the way it needs to.
They have the godfather of Brazilian Siege as well, don't forget. They have, like, in my opinion, I think the most famous Brazilian we have is Nest. That's not, that's not even a contest.
Ooh.
That guy.
Is he the most famous?
Probably. I mean, who else are you going to say more famous? You say Carl, I'm going to hit you.
I mean, you said it, not me. Now, I think there's more of a debate in my mind between Nesk and Palu, but I think Nesk definitely has that X factor about him that has made him more popular historically and more known.
Well,
there we go.
Again.
We got the track on with the Deimos. And there's a shotgun waiting. King has been in this spot now for several rounds and is picking up kills from it. Has been challenged on the other side sometimes. This time round, he's spotting a dime again and got a 2nd kill before finally there's an answer there. Liquid falling apart a bit in communication, and it's not going to be the round that they were after. Mistakes here and not learning from previous mistakes, I feel, is the main comment I'd make on that one, Demo. It's a 5-1 half. They've got a big hill to climb.
That was actually a really good adaptation, I think, from FaZe that time around. You know, you're going in for that top floor hold, for that mid floor site. Last time Resets was able to catch them by surprise and get some of those opening picks. This time, they played more structured. They sat back. They were using their utility that they had at their disposal. They were not allowing Resets just to walk in and find easy picks. If he wanted to get kills, he would have to be put into pretty difficult positions. One of them is, of course, swinging a shotgun, coming in from the breach. You know, straight away, good adaptation from FaZe. That's why they won, because that. Liquid had the one playstyle, they had the one mentality. If that didn't work, nothing else was happening for them.
All that has happened for them, to be honest with you, Demo. They need a bit of a miracle, it feels like. Come in with the double shield bans, try and slow FaZe down. The problem with FaZe, I feel, though, Demo, is like, you can take shields away from them. They're very happy to not play. They can play shields. King loves a good Monty, but
they can play anything.
That's
they can play every style of Siege in the game. That's the way FaZe have always been. Swiss Army knife.
I don't see how you stop them now. We're going to start things off down in the basement, and FaZe, instead of going towards a bot, leaning quite heavily in towards the Ram here to get the job done for them. This is where I turn to a team like Liquid and say the same things that we've been speaking about for other teams today. Is if you want to stop a team like FaZe being able to get to a point of execution where you know, because of the synergy and the years that they've got together, one of our longest standing 5-man rosters now, over 2 years together, they're going to punish you when it comes around to an execute. You need to be disrupting them early on, but it looks like FaZe have even read into that and said, cool, we expect to see some roaming. We've seen there's a vigil. We know there's an alibi on side. Been a while since we've seen one of those. So let's get ourselves a Dockerby on side. Let's get a Deimos on here, and let's go hunting.
Alibi's not prayer, needs a bit of love, I think, as well, Des.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the gadget just, the gadget is the gadget, you know? So,
Pants,
I'm
isn't
surprised she hasn't. She actually, I think she's one of the only operators who has not been touched since release, like her actual gadget.
Yeah. Could do with a change.
Because a lot of them do get changed. Yeah, a lot of them get changed, but she has not, which is surprising, considering how long she's been in. Like, what, 6 years, I think? She's been, maybe 7 years?
Yeah,
back in the game,
alongside Maestro, Ryan. That feels like basically not far off launch itself, yeah. Been a long while.
Yeah, so that's why we don't really see her, because the gun's great, really good gun. I remember the times where the 1.5 scope was on it, and it was an absolute demon of a gun for a lot of people, but the gadget just leaves a lot to be desired. But yeah, we see her here now, obviously going to be used as just a roamer. I assume a comfort pick for the gun for resets more than anything. So if they want to play that way, by all means. He's playing well at the moment, let him play what he wants to play.
I was about to say, if he's playing this well, say, look, mate, you just pick a gun. Pick a gun you like and go to town. And he said, cool, alibi. And everyone's kind of gone, really? Are you sure you don't want to play something else?
With it. Yeah, we'll go with it.
And he's like, nope, I want to play alibi. And it's like, all right, you're the boss.
You're a funeral.
Freebie, and he's dead.
He got his kill.
He did.
Yeah.
He got his one. Got the hard breach very crucially.
Yeah, good pick. Habanas, that means the hatches now are going to be locked out, and really any wall, because that's their only hard breacher, period, in the lineup.
Oh, dear.
Nesk finds another. The Vigil Roam has worked for them. So right now for FaZe, it's not working out well. Oh, he's tried to go for the quick ram drone in through the window. However, there was 2 of them. So Nesk was in no real danger. And now Handy has to go for a 1v4 clutch. He will kick things off with a kill onto the Vigil, which now means that everyone else is going to be trackable by his pings. And may have to get pretty lucky here with a floor bang potentially, but no, it's going to run straight back into the safety of the hard flooring, so he cannot be touched. And yeah, Andy, mate, I do not know what you're going to do here. You've got a few tracks left, 1 track left, in fact. You've got a nade. That's it. Nothing else.
And not
Liquid,
a lot of
all
time.
they have to do, just play your crosses. That's it. This should be pretty by the book stuff here, Des.
Time is the main concern for me more than anything else. Like, do you believe you can clutch this? Sure, on his day, I'm sure he absolutely could. But it's more the fact we're down to 30 seconds, and I can guarantee you Liquid are not going to give him all 3 1v1s inside that space of time. One's tucked in off towards the hard right here as well. Gets to track a bit further. There's the right idea. Has found one. Has a scan onto another. Suddenly you start to feel a tickle nervous for them here. They knows one's off towards his left-hand side, but a goo mine's there. Diaz is close, and Liquid will find the round.
Yeah, Liquid, roam game, worked out really well for them. You can see that the 1-for-1 happened for the alibi, which is fine, but then more importantly, the little double up in towards vending worked really well for them. Nesk gets 1 kill. The Ramos thinking, oh, I can jump in and kill it. No, another guy covering for Nesk. So the synergy worked really well for them. Liquid, I think losing the hard breacher obviously does not help them in that scenario. You lose the hard breach, the only form of hard breach that you have. Yeah, really the round's going to be cut off from then. So maybe FaZe could look at kind of filtering in more hard breach into their lineup if they have to go there again, which they might not have to, believe it or not, because it's only 2 rounds of what FaZe need. So we might not even see a basement again. But that's an if, that's a but. We don't do if, buts, or maybes here, Des. We do absolutes.
We do some maybes. We do plenty of coulds. They could cause the upset. They could win this round. They could win out a 1v3. As we've seen so often tonight, many a clutch has taken place, and it's led to some very favourable results for some teams that you maybe wouldn't normally see walking away as the winners in those games. But
if my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike.
Yeah, classic. I still never really fully understood that saying, you know. It's such a weird saying.
Italians.
It's just weirdly wonderful. All right, here we go. Shield on side. Bit of King, I mentioned earlier on, he loves playing a bit of Monty. Of course, that's been banned away. So Blackbeard is going to be the weapon of choice. Brava also being brought along, and I can imagine those are headed and careering straight for those Fenrir mines demo.
Yeah, Fenrir and also the BPs of them as their form of information. So getting rid of the BPs and using them for your own purposes will be pretty handy for them. Pardon the pun, of course, because I know it's handy playing it. Still, it fits. I think for FaZe, the main thing is not allowing these cheap kills be given away. For example, imagine if that was someone without a shield just jumped in towards meeting, died straight away. So thankfully, they've been able to get the players in the right positions. Maya somehow gets out of there, which I'm really surprised about. Whenever he was in meeting and I hear the walls start opening up, you think, sure, there's no way he gets back, but he does.
Took a shot, I think it was from Cyber, we can see out here outside the breach. course, trying to assist his teammate as best he can. And the pressure from King is enough to force those roamers back again. Where a shield can be so valuable is the ability to force players away just by the sheer virtue of existing near them. He wasn't looking to take a gunfight. He was just sat there watching very happily, but it was enough to send the defenders packing and gives FaZe a bit of control on this side of the map. We're about halfway in, though. They need to get some more going, and look at this. He's tucked right in there. He could be in hot water unless it's an assist coming on through. It's Ness starting out with the killing, and he gets rid of KDS.
So Liquid holding firm at the moment and reset. Again, this guy is the savior for Liquid. He is going toe for toe up against FaZe, and another one for resets.
You can't stop him today.
You can't. I mean, somebody does and is handy, but again, he's already been able to take out half the team before he goes down. FaZe really struggling here to get anything going on their attacking half. Liquid and the defense is a lot better than where they were.
I thought for a second Ness was really going to miss out on that one, but they know exactly where he is. Could be a little bit of a precarious situation. But no, there's a shot coming in. It's handy to find Ness first. And again for Liquid, they had this man advantage. They still maintain it. It's worth stressing. But now you start to worry. There is only 30 seconds to play. If they can play to time here, they might be okay. But it only takes another kill to come out of FaZe, and suddenly they're in hot water. This surely is a free kill. Every day of the week. There we go. Shotgun to the face, and a second from Ask as well. Liquid with another round on the board. Are you starting to feel that momentum coming, Demo?
Are we not thinking maybe we could ace that somehow? He just walked up to the mirror window. What you expect is going to happen. You're up against somebody who can see you with a boomstick on the other side. You know, it's no real surprise to see them lose that. And FaZe, rightly so, gonna have a timeout because the attacks have not been up to scratch. Resets, massive headache for them.
They're leaving the door open, aren't they? And starting to invite them back in. Resets, as you remark, has been a real nuisance for them. I think prior to our rehost, he was sat on 5 kills anyway, so counting up towards about 11 at this point. The only player anywhere near double digits. I say that, I think Souls is there too at like 11 kills or so as well, so it's been looking good across the board for a few individual players, but we spoke about the hero plays earlier. You can't rely on individuals. It's been quiet. Maya especially is a player that I'll highlight here. Really quiet game from him, and when he's been picked up obviously a while ago now, and is seen as this big fragger for the team, and he's not putting up the numbers, this is where it's like a thank God moment. The Resets is playing well, but I don't think you can count on him to do this every single round for you. At least it's 2 back-to-back. It'll be a matter of time until FaZe crack that egg, though, and get an attacking round win, and then Liquid really start to sweat. You didn't go, does that mean you disagree with me?
No. I agree. Sorry, have I hit a bit of anxiety into your speech now, because you don't hear that you're thinking,
you made me paranoid.
Oh dear.
That's it. I'm forever paranoid, mate. I'll be going to sleep like, Demo, please. I'll say I'm tired, good night, and then I'll need to hear it, need to go to sleep. I do actually like how someone in chat earlier was like, take a shot every time Demo says, It's speed run to getting drunk.
It wouldn't last long. You wouldn't last long, I tell you. Yeah, I think for FaZe, whenever you now look at the mid floor, they've got kind of 2 options. Do they go a little bit off script, Des, and attempt a rush? Because they haven't went for one of them yet.
Not.
So you could try and up the ante and go a little bit faster. Or you just hope, okay, was that a case if the rehost was used as a mental reset, you're still going to go with the same formula of the plan? But you've had a bit of a talk with some players thinking, come on, we need to get things going, a bit of motivation. Maybe that's what they were missing out on. Based on the lineup, you think, okay, same formula. You know, there's nothing there that says, we're going to go fast, we're going to go quick. It seems to be pretty standard. You've got double hard breach, you've got the RAM as well to open up the vertical flooring. It will come down to see how well they can deal with these roamers above, as it always is for this bomb site.
It goes back to that earlier conversation that we had about FaZe being this more slow, composed, controlled team, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, when you got Cyber, it's a great example here to come back to our earlier conversation about Doki on Ace, for example. You're at a stage now where flexibility amongst the team is arguably the best thing you can have. And you've got one of your leading entry fraggers who has used both exothermics, come off there to try and make an entry happen, and has been absolutely slapped about by Neskier very early on in the round. That 2-minute mark, they've lost their main man.
Not good. Not good again. FaZe struggling on that opening pick. King. Nothing's going to come off that play as the smoke is in a good position to stall it out. In goes the Ram, and this is going to make a lot of noise. And I think Candy was maybe thinking he could just try and walk in, and rightly so from Nesk, just takes a bit of a back pedal towards the safety of that mirror window.
Still here again?
Yeah.
Oh.
Need to get the Selmas in to deal with that.
Yeah, Souls, where is Souls right now? He's in Connector. He's the wrong side of the map to be able to help out with this. They might step in and get one, but Ask is there to at least settle down the chaos, get one back on the other side. But that does mean that FaZe have got this east side control, can now start to sweep across that top floor, and these three members are looking all upstairs together. All right, trying to get back down to site. No problem at all.
Yeah, still doable, though, I feel, for FaZe, because the main thing is they've got that top floor control. And I've mentioned before about this bomb site, you just jump in the window and plant, and there's not a lot that the defenders can do to really stop you. The only way you can stop people jumping in that window is if you plant the bomb site yourself. But if everything's open above you, you can't do that. So there is an opportunity still for FaZe to get the plant down. And if you look at the util and the loadout from Liquid, they have no C4s. They have no way of stopping that plant going down, Des, so that's why I'm worried for them.
And sure enough, the plant is going down right now. Conceded a lot of the control, but for FaZe, it was all they needed to make sure this could happen. It's now stuck into a 2 versus 3, and this is where Liquid have now got to force themselves into action. But two members are low HP. A single bullet can be enough. Rounding on the corner, and Ass finds one. It's a trade somehow that comes out as well. Souls with it all to do. We've seen in clutch many around historically, not so much in this game. But now we've got the defuse going down. They've got to get the timing right here. Nesk isn't coming off. Can they stop him in time? No, they can't. He's found his man. This is why Souls is one of the best support players in the world. Gives nothing over to the other side. Doesn't expose an inch. And now he can step forward for the 1v1 onto Resets. Spray comes out, and I really thought for a second there, Resets might have his man. But Souls comes up big, and FaZe move to match point.
Yeah, look at the way he's planted that as well. He planted that in a position where the defenders cannot long arm that. They have to expose themselves to that long angle that he was just sat on the entire time. Yeah, FaZe, I said it before, it's still going in their way. That all-important kill from Handy, you eliminate that player upstairs. Once he's gone, that entire connector electrical side, it collapses. We've seen the defenders just had to give up control. They had to leave. They all ran downstairs, and at that point, the attackers have what they needed. They have the top floor control, they have the vertical open. Like I mentioned before, it is a bomb site with a window connected to it that you just jump in and plant from. There's not a lot you can do to stop it. They didn't have any C4s, just every star aligned for FaZe there, and they played that oh so well for a man disadvantage.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I think having Souls on your team definitely helps.
Souls1 is the only support player where one round he's playing Ace, and the next round you can see him play Ash. Even kidding, that's the way he operates. Souls1.
Souls1. You must be the only player on the planet to call him that.
Ollie has a go at me as well for calling that.
Why'd you call him Souls1?
I just do.
Do you think all of his mates call him Souls1?
I don't know, but it is a 1 in his name, Souls1.
Shall I call you Demo 7?
It's like Air Force 1. That's what he is. He's Souls1. He's the carry for FaZe.
This game he definitely is. He's absolutely frying this game for sure. Him and Handy have put in a real shift to keep his team going. Now we'll see if they can get it done in round 10. 3 more bites of the cherry though, Demo. They can afford to get it wrong here. Liquid have really got to find something here. Dig deep. They've had some good rounds throughout the game. We've had a Souls 1v3, a KDS 1v3. If those rounds went the other way, Liquid will be the ones in the lead right now at a 5-4 scoreline. So it's been a matter of fine margins. But as I've often said tonight, all that matters is that score at the top of the screen, and no one will look back at this game and go, oh, well, they were 2 rounds shy away from winning it, and it was 2 1v3s that led to that. That won't be the story everyone remembers. Just remember that it's another game that FaZe have got the better of Liquid.
Did you just call him Souls1?
No.
Yeah, you did? You said Souls1 and then V3?
Souls1.
Souls1 version 3. That's what you said.
Oh. That's exactly what I said, Demo, yes.
Resets on the alibi again. He only got the 1 kill, but as we've kind of put it down to, look, he's playing well. Just let him play what he wants at this stage. And Andy, using the Dokkaebi call to try and muffle the sound of him walking in towards Garage has not been allowed to happen, as Maya is quick on the trigger and will eliminate him. Another player has been spotted out as well, who's entered in from that Garage window. Oh, Nesk able to find out Souls, but then in comes a big trade from King with 2 though, Dez. And now we equal things up, 3 versus 3.
That was just a real siege timing moment as well as Maya and resets were focused elsewhere. Vidaking just got that slither inside a garage and has got the sideswipe onto Maya. And now we stand in a spot where storage is free because of that play that is made. Really good stuff. 2 separate 1v1s being won out. He dies there. Very good chance they could have been in a great spot to win this round in a 5 versus 2. Instead, things are all even. 3 versus 3. And FaZe could still close this out here and now.
Minute to go. Plenty of time for FaZe to see if they can work this, and whenever Goyo canisters are already being popped, that's a good thing for FaZe. It's different if those are still up around the 30-second mark, then you would be sweating, but at the moment, it's okay. They will commit, though, Dez, in towards Animus room. Oh, Cyber.
Free.
Oh, dear.
So free. And Vidaking's just sat there above as well, waiting for it to come
the
through.
GG.
Handy in there with the early call. The disrespect to Diaz. No belief that he can get it done. And sure enough, he will not. Cozy for FaZe. Yes, there were a couple of moments where it looked a little bit ropey, but all that matters is the score at the end of the day, and they walk away with 3 points. What a start to the stage for them.